So thanks everyone for joining us. I'm Gail. I'm the co-founder of 50inTech with Caroline, who's there with us. We've been building this project of 50inTech because we think that tech should have no gender, and currently tech has a gender, and it's male. The data are very speak for themselves. We have roughly 25% of women in the tech industry, and when we're talking about managing position leadership, it's more like 1 out of 10 that are women. So this is a problem because the technology and the innovation and all what is around development today is building the future of the services, the future of the product. We've seen that many stories about AI being built only by men, and that it's not working for female. We've been seeing with COVID lately that the equipment to protect the people from the disease has been only thought for standard people, and these standard people are white European male. So I mean, yeah, we need to be a diverse team to be able to think about everyone's need and to answer these needs correctly. We also know that women are less keen asking for promotion. Hello, can you mute your... Okay, I'm going to mute everyone for now. We know that women have a big imposter syndrome. They don't always feel they can belong to take a lead role, and they're less keen on asking for a promotion. They're less visible as well. So Paola is here today to tell us how she managed to become a tech lead. And also she's been talking more about the mistakes that she's been doing, and she will share with us how she would have liked to be maybe accompanied to avoid these mistakes, and hopefully for those here today who wants to become tech leader, manager, etc., this will help you move forward more quickly and grow in your career. So hi Paola, you can unmute your microphone and present yourself. So you're a tech lead at Dashlane, and you've been tech leader for 2 years now.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Yeah, have been a tech lead for 2 years. I'm now staff engineer. It is a different name for the same role. And I'm very glad of being here and sharing my experience with you today. Shall I start sharing my screen?
Yeah, you can start sharing your screen, and in the meantime, I will just explain the rules of this workshop. So we're very happy to have this interactive workshop, allowing everyone to have microphones opened and video. It's like a real chat between every one of us, to make sure that we are not annoyed by noises around us. I will mute all the microphones during Paola's presentation. And then when you have questions to ask, use the chat first, and then I will just call you so that you can open your mic and chat with Paola and us. Okay, so ask your question anytime. Ilaria is with us as well. She's our community manager, and she will be chatting on our social network about what we are saying today. So don't hesitate to tweet on your side as well. Leave us your feedback in the chat. We're very happy to have this, again, very interactive workshop. It's your turn, Paola.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gail. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining this workshop. I'm thrilled and excited of sharing my experience with you today. And huge kudos to Caroline and Gael for inviting me today and for creating 50inTech. Let me start by introducing myself. Well, I already kind of introduced myself. So my name is Paola Ducolin. I'm Italian, and I'm a staff engineer at Dashlane. I'm a co-organizer of Ladies of Code Paris meetup, and I'm a co-organizer of Queer.js. I am a woman, and you can tell by my chair, I'm a software developer. I've been in software development for more than 10 years. I've worked with different technology stacks, with different applications, and overall, I always know that I love coding. I've always loved coding. I love seeing the product of my work. And I love coding so much that I first moved from Conegliano. This is my hometown in the northeast of Italy. It's a country of vineyard, it's a town of Prosecco wine. And I moved from Conegliano to Milan right after my master's degree in electronics engineering to start working as a software developer. And I lived in Milan for 6 years and I loved being there. Like my eyes are still lighting up when I talk about my life there, my friends, my favorite restaurant, and like, look how beautiful it is. But 6 years ago, I was 30 and I told myself, it's now or never. And I decided to move to Paris to pursue my ambition of becoming a technical leader. I didn't want to choose the only people management or the product management because I really like the coding and the technical part of my work. So I moved, I learned a new language, kind of, and I succeeded in the subtle art of finding an apartment. Well, not this one, I cannot see the Eiffel Tower. Opening a bank account, and even having a telephone number. And other foreigner can tell you it is a very hard challenge. And 2 years ago, I was working at Dashlane, and Dashlane finally gave me the opportunity I was looking for. They offered me the position of tech lead in a team I joined 6 months before, with people that were more senior than me and more expert than me. And moreover, I was taking over the role on a developer that was still part of the team. My imposter syndrome came out with a vengeance. And that led me to a series of mistakes and misconceptions over my role that I believe made me a better tech lead today. Today, I want to share with you a few of the tips I learned and few of the tips I would tell myself if I could turn back time and that I still remember myself. So the tip number 1 is trust your team. It's easy to say, but one of the skills that got me into this role was my vocality. I've always spoke up, always stood up for my ideas, and pushed to reach the finish line. My first mistake was to think that as a tech lead, I was expected to keep pushing for my ideas and to be the most expert in the room. It always come up with the best solution. My imposter syndrome played a big role in this misconception, as it was telling me I was not legitimate because I was not the most expert, because I didn't always have the best ideas. And that led me to try even harder to find the best solution always. As one of my mentors told me, I was a leader because I was a control freak. I need to have everything under control, everything planned. But as you become a leader, you need to let it go. You need to lose control. And you need to trust and listen to your team. That put me out of my comfort zone. And I learned the lesson the hard way. I had one of my senior colleagues that wanted to try a new technology that I didn't like. And he had to ping me for months before I let him work on a proof of concept. And that worked. And I put myself and this colleague in an awkward situation. I put both of us in this awkward situation, and I let him feel unheard. And that taught me to listen more carefully to my team and to always criticize my own ideas. And that's where the imposter syndrome plays a role, because criticizing my ideas means showing the vulnerability of my ideas. But if you think about it, in tech, there is never a perfect solution. There are always a balance between pros and cons. And learning to find both strong and weak points is hard, but it will let less vocal members of your team be comfortable with criticizing your ideas and bringing alternatives. And that's the way to the best solution. So tip number 2, let your team fly. Don't be the explorer. Let your team explore. My first idea over my role was to run all the investigation and to solve all the unknown, preparing straightforward tasks for my team. And as much as my product manager was liking that, because there was a feeling of speed, I was taking away part of the fun of exploring the unknown from my team. Not all developers are comfortable with it, with the unknown, but if you have what Kim Scott in Radical Candor calls superstar, you have to share the fun with your team. It is hard because you are passionate about the tech, and you learn. At least I love learning new things, but you have to let it go and have your team doing it, because that's part of the tech lead role. And throughout it all, you will still be learning with your team. You have to be there, listen to them, and mentor them if they need. They're gonna come and ask you, and you need to explore with them. And sharing the passion will still be fun and is part of your role. Tip number 3, be a filter. Keep your steam out of your team. Becoming a tech lead to me meant being a buffer between the inside and the outside of the team. Communicating and dealing with stakeholders, with their needs and their pressure, will need your energy. A new developer joining the team and having a hard time onboarding and aligning with the team rituals and habits, it will need your energy. That discussion around architecture and showing your vulnerability on your ideas, it will need your energy. Briefly, your energy will be consumed. Filter sources of pressure. Address your concern and discuss transparently with stakeholders when you think there are processes that can be improved or where you're not aligned with the plans. Do not vent with your team. Give feedbacks directly to the people that are concerned. And learning to give feedbacks, constructive feedbacks, is hard and put me out of my comfort zone. Telling that you don't agree and that you want something to change, it's not comfortable. But that led to stronger relationship of trust with your managers and with your team too. And again, I'm recommending this book, Radical Candor by Kim Scott that teach you how to build a relationship of trust based on feedbacks. So do not hesitate to take breaks if you're stressed, and speak up when you feel tired, when you need to take a day off. And avoid closing your laptop violently during a meeting because you received an email or a Slack message you didn't like, because you're gonna scare your team off. And your team to work efficiently need to feel safe and supported, not scared. Tip number 4, learn to say no. This is the hardest, because the fear of missing out will tell you to take everything that is asked from you. And you don't have to take every single job that is asked to you. When you lead by example, by working overtime to help the team completing their job, you are giving the wrong example. Take on boring tasks and find out why there is extra work, as there might be a process issue, a staffing issue. Discuss with your agile coach or with your people manager and see how you can improve the flow. And take time for yourself, rest. Leading by example means showing that you care for your team and that you care for yourself. Your team needs to know that you are there for mentoring and that you are ready to get your hands dirty if needed, but that you respect personal time, starting from yours. And tip number 5, reach out to communities. The most important thing to me is bringing passion and enthusiasm. And to do that, I go to conferences and I participate to local meetups. I never came back from a conference without new idea to implement. At C++ Italia, I found out about WinDBG and time travel debugging. That became my first blog post and my first talk at a meetup. And at React Finland, I first heard about design system. And since then, I pushed for implementing one at Dashlane. So go to conferences and try to be a speaker, apply to be a speaker. And encourage your team to do the same. You can start from local meetups. It will be a source of inspiration because there will be other awesome people, passionate people, sharing their knowledge and sharing their passion. And even if you're an introvert like me, you will find other introverts. You may find other introverts. In the Ladies of Code chat, in the Ladies of Code Slack, we have an introvert channel that is the most silent channel ever, but still, you will find your place. I also recently found out that Twitter is an awesome source of tech news and kind and awesome people. It is thanks to Queer.js that I found out about, it is thanks to Twitter that I found out about Queer.js. That is a queer community in tech that is awesome and very inclusive and that I'm proudly part of. So in conclusion, these were and these are the lessons I learned during my first step as a tech lead. And I love the mix of people skill and technical skills that this role has and that this role needs. And I'm grateful for the awesome team and the thoughtful team that helped me and supported me during my learning on the field. The best part, as said, is that I keep learning from everyone. And about my imposter syndrome, it is still a huge work in progress. But working for a company as Dashlane that encourage sharing vulnerability from the top down helps, because you get comfortable with sharing your vulnerability too. And also surround yourself with inspiring women. And on that, 50inTech helps. And as said, reach out to communities, because through Ladies of Code, Women in Machine Learning Data Science, and Queer.js, I met awesome women and awesome people that share the same fight with me. And in this fight, unity is strength. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Paola. That was super clear, these five advices. So everyone now, if you have any questions, please raise your hands or ask your question in the chat. And if you don't already have a question, I have some for you. So we've got a first three questions from Dana. Dana, please open your microphone and ask your question directly to us.
Yeah, hi, thanks for the talk again. I can just read the stuff I posted. So the first question is about like how you deal with your team, how do you like motivate them, and how do you handle like any disagreements if that like happens in your team? Because I'm not team lead, I would like to be in the future, and I find it difficult even as a team member to deal when there is a disagreement. And quite often I see managers that don't know how to handle that properly. So I'm just curious about your approach.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Well, the strongest disagreement I found was more between stakeholders and the team. So, or product needs and technological needs. If you're not comfortable with a conflict, first go ask people that are more skilled that are more people skilled. So you can ask your manager. So don't hesitate to ask for help if you find you don't have the answer, and then talk it over. Give time for a discussion and find a solution together. One solution that I have about technical discussion is to give the time for it, and then choose the solution that has no strong disagreement. So don't choose the solution that has more agreement, but choose the solution that everybody can live with.
Yes, thank you. And my last question is like, how do you evaluate the team members? I don't know if you're responsible for that as well. And like, how do you choose if someone will get a promotion or not? Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that is not part of my role. That is part of the people manager, of the engineering manager, that will deal with staffing and with money, and I deal with tech. I prefer tech.
Yes, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ilaria has a question now. Ilaria, you can open your microphone.
Hello, hi Paola, thank you so much. And super nice to see another Italian girl living in Paris and getting to learn the language, the apartment. I know the struggle, I totally know. So my question was about your onboarding at Dashlane. So big company, new place, very tech focused. I guess the team you joined had a very important role in the company. So how was the onboarding process? How was the integration, and what were the main challenges that you faced?
When I started working at Dashlane, I was hired as a software engineer. So I was not hired as tech lead, straightforward. And I didn't have huge challenges during the onboarding. Even if, yeah, my imposter syndrome when I change job is always speaking loud at me, like you you are so lucky and you got lucky during the process and you don't deserve it. But I think the onboarding was mostly on based on pair programming, like technical onboarding was based on pair programming and trying to understand, trying to navigate over the documentation. And overall, the team was there to help me. So the engineer manager and the tech lead that were there at the time, they were there to help me and to onboard me.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we are now listening to Manasa. If you can ask your question.
Hello.
Hello.
I apologize for my work from home hair. So my question was mostly about code reviews and giving actionable feedback. So how often do you perform code reviews? What are the criteria that you look for? And then when it comes to feedback, how do you focus on giving actionable feedback? Because I do get a lot of feedback and I do give some, but I think it's a bit difficult to put it into actionable objectives. So how do you do that? Thanks.
Yeah, so one of the things I look a lot at is the readability of the code. I did a tech talk at Ladies of Code and at Women in Machine Learning about that. And so when I look at code, one of the first things that I look at is the code readable, is the naming of the function readable, and I clarify that in the documentation, in the onboarding documentation in the first place. So if you come to the team, you know the rules and you have to know the rules. So that puts you in a more comfortable situation and you are less prone to errors or to misalignment with the team. Other things are keeping things simple and try not to be aggressive or passive aggressive in the pull request reviews, and try not to have huge conversation in the pull request because it's just not efficient. So if you think you have a communication issue, go and talk with your team member. And right now, where everybody is working remotely, like Zoom them or call them and talk directly to them.
Vanessa, does it answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. My second question was on giving actionable technical feedback, or how you translate feedback into objectives, if you have any tips for that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think the main thing is explaining why you do something. So giving the why, giving the goal. So for example, clean code, why we do clean code, it's not for the sake of it. It's to have an easier onboarding for other people coming and for yourself, keeping the familiarity with the code, because I have a very bad memory or a selective memory. And if I come back after 6 months on a piece of code I worked on, I don't remember why I took those decisions. So yeah, explain why you do that, and that will drive them, and like that will drive your developers or your team taking those actions. That is answer your question.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Marie was, or Mary, I don't know, was asking a question about Scrum. Marie? I don't know if Mary can open the microphone. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Farah. What do you think about the tool as a tech leader about Scrum?
Scrum is dangerous, and the first company where I found it useful is Dashlane, because it is applied not as a religion, but as a tool. So you have to adapt the Scrum rules to your needs. And if you do that, and if you're not too rigid and squared applying it, it works fine. And I really like it because it gives me this feeling of, you know, being a control freak, I need to see things moving, and I need to see the planning. And Scrum is also about that, because it helps you evaluate the work that is planned. It helps you split in tasks, in smaller tasks and actionable tasks that can be done in 1 or 2 days. And this gives you the like the endorphin of things moving.
Mary cannot open the microphone, so Mary, tell us if the answer is clear for you, if you want Paola to add some more. Anyone else has question? We still have time. Yeah, perfect, she's saying. We still have a lot of time for more question. Otherwise, I have one, Paola. Oh yeah, Amélie is raising her hand. Amélie?
As we're talking about Scrum, have you ever tried other tools? Because maybe Scrum works well at Dashlane, but have you ever tried other tools that enable you to see how things are moving in the project without controlling your developers so much? Because this is what I feel right now working on with this tool.
Yeah, it can easily become micromanagement. But the power of Scrum is in having the team deciding what they want to do. So probably what you can try to change is the planning phase. Because if you are like, one thing that I don't like is assignment on the tasks. And sometimes you have to do it, but it should be up to the developers to choose which task to work on, and not to a manager or to the tech lead to pick them and assign them to you. So this could give you back some power. I'm old enough to have worked in a waterfall company, because my first company was a huge and big company, and old company in Italy. And I assure you that waterfall is like, at least for me, it doesn't work. Like we had one team working on a specification for years, and then one team implementing the specifications and the team that was working on the specification had a different knowledge. So like, you were missing out information that were needed during the planning. And having years of distance or a month of distance doesn't help the flow. And what I like in Scrum or in Kanban, also in agile methodology, what I like is that the team is smaller, and should be autonomous, and everybody is close to each other, and they share or should share information more efficiently.
Amélie, yeah, that's a clear answer to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And maybe I can add a small one before you pick up, Gail. Even if I choose the tasks I work on right now, working with this agile methodology, I think the tasks are too small. So how small do you make those tasks in your team currently in Dashlane? When we're talking about front end, is it just a big topic that your team member has to work on, or how detailed is it?
Yeah, so I know, like, I like working with small tasks and with things that I can do like in one day, but not everybody is comfortable working with that. I had a discussion yesterday or 2 days ago with a colleague that prefer like working for 1 month on a subject, or for 3 months on the same subject. And for that, we have different teams like we have a two-way organization in the engineering team at Dashlane. We have mission teams that are product driven, and their tasks are tiny as possible, so they can move and they can iterate on the product. and we have the platform teams that are more long time tasks. Still, I think that also for yourself, like for your organization, even if you are gonna work on the same epic, let's call it, so on the same long time task for 3 months, to me, it's really helpful to split it in a small actionable task so that I know the dependency between the different tasks and I can organize the work.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah. Knowing that you can split teams to adapt to how people like to work as well, it's just great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Then the platform team also take care of bugs, like all the bugs that, yeah, so it's a balance.
Anna, you can ask your question, I think.
My question was about how, or did you ever encounter the fact that you had people in your team who don't want to be a member of the team, who just want to do their job and don't feel that it is necessary to behave as a member of a team?
Yeah.
What did you do?
And it was hard. I cried. No, I really worked hard. Like my passion is documentation and to help onboarding, and like I pair program a lot with him. It was a guy, and yeah, I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy try to have him onboarded and try to give him the goal of the mission, and at the end we separate roads. It's gone now.
It's gone now. Yeah, I've heard the separate road. Yeah, there was only one person in your team, Paola, right?
That's the only person that I could not have on board on the project and on the vision.
Because from Anna's question, it feels like her team is like a team full of individualists. How big is your team, Anna?
Currently it's 3. It's been 5 at one point.
Yeah.
And I have half of it who just like to work in their corner. They're totally yes, yeah, of course, I help you. So they are totally excited to help people, but they are unable to go towards a common goal. They are just only interested in what they are doing and what their part is contributing. And that is really difficult for me. It's my PO is like this. I've got 2 developers like this, and it's hard to build a team spirit when you only have people who are interested in what they are doing.
Yeah, it looks like you have an ego problem in your team. So I don't want to say that Dashlane is the perfect company, but most of the people at Dashlane are kind and are open and listening and empathic people. Not all, but mostly. So that is part of the values. I will not talk about culture. I'm talking about values of working together and working as a team. So one of the values is team first. You put your ego behind, and you can do it. Like you can work in your free time. You can work on your side project and like how you say, release endorphin to your ego. But when you work, you should work as a team. And like I am personally a competitive person, so I have an ego, and I like to accomplish tasks. Probably what I do is giving, you can give, like, for example, for the exploration, for the spike, the investigation part, you can assign one of the team member an investigation in autonomy, giving clear goals, giving clear results that should bring to you.
That's what they do. Because they do it totally individually. It's complicated because I'm a lead dev of an already existing team. So they had their ways of working together. And I came in with new processes like the CTO wanted and new organization, and they don't feel like they suit them. So it's complicated to get them into it. They always say, yeah, it's great, I'll do that. And they never do it.
Anna, I invite you to post this question on the discuss area on 50inTech. I'm sure many people can have advice, ideas, maybe suggestions to share with you.
I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah. We have a question. Well, yeah, from Caroline, our CEO at 50inTech. Open your microphone.
Yeah, I'm just doing the rules. So I'm asking, raising my hand, you know, I'm super, yeah, I have a question about your onboarding process. So you tell us that you have a special onboarding process, and I think it's really important. I'm talking with a lot of tech companies because we'll open soon pages and opportunities and vetted opportunities for women. So we are interviewing a lot of tech recruiters, so how they manage that. And a lot are saying that they are losing a lot on their onboarding. So you know that hiring a tech people is really expensive. And if you are losing these people in 3 months, that's really something terrible for your employer brand, for your team. It's a lot of energy. So I would like to know how do you do exactly, what kind of process you have established? Do you have ERGs? They can talk with people from, I don't know, women groups. I don't know. I would love to hear you about your tips on how you make it, and if the process is global for the company or at your level.
Okay, thank you for the question. Again, it's something that I learned from looking at Twitter and from going at conferences. I give a lot of importance to the clean of the code and to the documentation. I read a recent tweet from Romeo Moura, that is one of the organizers of Ncraft, that was talking about the feeling of speed versus the actual speed. And in startups, I think we are more driven by the feeling of speed. And I love cooking. And I found this analogy where when you cook or when you experiment with cooking, you do a mess in the kitchen. But then you have to clean up, take notes of what you've done, and go on with the next step. And a lot of time, the feeling of speed will not make you clean up, like will let you jump to the next step without cleaning up. And this is not company-wise. Right now, I'm pushing to have more documentation, and there are teams that are working fine without documentation. And there I think that the code is just clean, it's just readable, and it's auto-documented. So yeah, to answer your question, my 2 rules are clean code. So keeping the name meaningful, keeping the architecture meaningful and simple. Do not, like that's something else that mostly ego people that act alone get wrong, because when you decide things alone, it's easier to get wrong. And when you discuss about architecture, it's easier to find a balance and to find vulnerability and weak points on a design. So discuss with the team, have pull request reviews, have code reviews, and keep the clean code. And as soon as you jump into a piece of documentation and you don't understand it, or if you jump in a piece of documentation and you find 3 pages saying different things, like invite everyone to clean it up and to have like to keep things cleaned. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Paola. Thank you.
We've got a question from Victoria.
Well, ciao Paola. Thank you. It's really impressive actually for somebody who is kind of, business background and, just investing, supporting startups to understand what is happening behind the scenes. It's all, as they say, it's all Greek to me. I speak Greek, but I don't speak code at all. But I am just curious, speaking about the kind of career, onboarding, what do you envisage as your career trajectory? If you can map it out, like somebody in your position, would that be to turn a CTO at some point? Would it be to create your startup? Would you envisage doing something completely different because one maybe gets tired of coding? Can you give us a bit of more, how to say, insights into where do you see this kind of developing? Thank you.
Yeah, for your question. My personal goal, and sorry, I will reduce. Okay, and my personal goal, and it's important, it's one of my mistakes. You always have to have clear your goal, like your long-term goal. That is probably not staying at the same company for 10 years. And my personal goal is becoming a CTO. I don't have entrepreneurship, how you say it in English, skills. I don't have personal ideas. So yeah, my goal is becoming a CTO in 5 years. And this is my plan. And based on that, I got the luck to find mentors to help me build my plan. And why I say is one of my biggest error, as one of my biggest mistakes, is that I focused on technical tasks and on making the process work, and also I was waiting for this promotion. I was waiting for the role to fall from the sky, because I think as a woman it's typical to wait and like keep working, keep the hard work and expect that it's gonna be recognized at some point. But it's not, because on the other side you have men that are just culottés, as you say in French, and that will ask for it. They will ask for your promotion. Don't hesitate to ask. Don't do like I did. Don't wait for being 34 years old before having the promotion.
And
you
so
still have a long way to go. You still have a long way to go. I mean, opportunities ahead of you, and I'm sure you can achieve, the role that you want. It's maybe just making yourself visible and, saying that you are keen to join a venture. As Caroline said, as a co-founder and CTO, I think it's all about kind of being out there and promoting that you're keen to get your hands on that. Grazie.
We've got 8 minutes to go, so if anyone has a question, just show yourself. I can't see everyone on the screen, so don't hesitate to use the chat to show who you are. One question in the meantime, so you've been talking about mentor, about the imposter syndrome, about the fact of being invisible or waiting for things to come, just expecting that your work will be recognized. So what are your tips maybe for the women here in the audience that are willing to go for leadership roles, and how to behave, and what to do with the current manager to show them that you're here and ready to jump in a management position? What would you say?
Pick up, tell that you want to be a tech lead, that you want a promotion, that you want more. I left the work in Italy because I was there for 6 years and I was waiting for this promotion that never arrived because I never asked for it. And so eventually I was frustrated and I left the company.
And how did you find your mentor? Are there mentors in your company, or people that you met through communities?
Yeah, both, and that also came out from a conference I went to. It was a conference in London. I don't remember which, but like the keynote was about the importance of mentorship, and that I said, yeah, maybe I should find one. And when I joined Dashlane, they had this mentorship program in place, which is great. So it takes vulnerability because you have to ask for help, but it's very important because it makes you grow, and it's a person that is out of your team normally, so it has a kind of external point of view and still is internal at the company. And my second mentor is Sami from Agorize, that I got in contact through Women in Machine Learning Data Science and Caroline Xavier. And he posted on Twitter this program of mentorship, and I joined it. And with him, he helped me build this plan for my goals of CTO or co-founder, maybe, yeah.
So co-founder is not an option anymore now.
No, it can be. I never consider it.
No, yeah, because you just say I'm not skilled to be an entrepreneur. I'm not sure who are skilled to be or not. I mean, you just dive into it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have ideas of products, but probably if I found someone that has ideas, I can help. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure of that. I had another question. How your team is built right now? Is it diverse or is it more male?
Well, we have a lot of men engineers, of course, of white men engineers, because that's just the statistics. But we have women, and we have women in leadership position that are a source of inspiration. We have right now, we have a manager that used to work for the server team, so for the backend, that moved to the web team where I work now, and she's awesome, Emmanuel. And there are, I'm counting. We have 2 other women in the engineering team, the web team in Paris. We have 1 great developer in Lisbon, and we have more women in the engineering team in New York.
And the fact that you arrived as a tech lead has changed the team, the building of the team, or has it remained the same? Meaning, like, if the tech team is if the leader is a woman, is it bringing diversity in the team? Basically, is the question.
I think so, because like having me and having Emmanuel, it brings a different sensibility also in the hiring process, because we don't have the same background as other male developers that went all to the same school, or kind of almost all to the same school, that have a computer science background, for example. I don't have a computer science background. Emmanuel doesn't have a computer science background. And having a hiring process that is open to different backgrounds helps having diversity in the team.
We have 3 minutes. I will ask Rita's question. She's in a train, so she can't ask by herself. So saying, what do you do? And that's very interesting. If you ask for a promotion, but then the boss says that you haven't proven yourself for the promotion, then ask what I need to do to get the promotion, but then they couldn't answer precisely. So
I go look for another job.
Find another job. That's yeah. That's
no, find a company that gives constructive feedbacks and that has a culture of feedbacks.
And she said perfect answer with a big lol. Yeah. Okay, Rita, you have to find another one. 2 minutes just to say thank you to everyone. Please leave your feedback right now in the chat. I love when you send us some love in the chat just before the end of this session. I hope you enjoyed it. Paola is available on 50inTech, so you can match, you can connect with her. She will be publishing, I think today, Paola, right, an article to summarize your tips on the platform, right? You can comment on this document and then we'll try to answer. If you have questions, just like Anna, you can open a chat. There's a discussion area where you can ask your question. And I think like we were, I think 35 at some point in this conversation. So I'm sure that everyone is able to bring some ideas, advice, suggestions, etc. So please use the platform. And if you haven't registered yet, you know what we are doing at 50inTech now. We're putting people together so that we grow bigger and faster. And so join us. It's all free. You find very nice people just like you have been today. So that's it. Next week we have a special week on the topic of well-being. We've been through months of awkward life. Many women have had a hard time, sometimes because of homeschooling, because they're a mom, and sometimes because they were just by themselves. So we'll be hosting a session with Lucille Woodward. She's a top influencer in the field of well-being and wellness in France. She's a coach, an ex-journalist, and she's also an entrepreneur, mother of two. And she'll be talking about well-being, how to take care of ourselves, and give also advice on how to build and use a community. And on Friday 12, we'll be talking with Hannah from Kidado. She's a co-founder of this website and platform, giving advice to parents for kids activity. And she's also the mother of 3, an entrepreneur as well, dealing with a huge community and homeschooling with her kids. So she'll be a source of information of how to take care of kids while working remotely. It's just one, so we can finish this conversation. See you all on the platform next week, maybe here on the video channel. Thanks to everyone. Thank you for the bye-bye. Bye now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.